The Mystical Emergence podcast is for mature audiences only and should never be used over sound medical advice. This week, the body talks. And now, here are your hosts, Mystic and the Wizard.
On this episode of the Mystical Emergence podcast, the body talks. So how does the body talk with our body, with our brain? How does that work?
Well, our bodies are actually very, very smart. Our organs, we don't really think like they talk to us at all because they're on the inside of our body. You know, our brains we pay attention to because, we think. That's where our ideas come from. That's where our, whatever. We're in our heads all day long,
right.
So our organs, though, we never really think about it. So it's like, how do these things communicate with us? Are they? We kind of never learn that, What in school you take like a basic anatomy class. You have these organs, but are they communicating with us?
And how are they communicating with us?
Exactly. And I think that it's super important to know this so that you can actually tell what's going on with your physical health. And, we've kind of been trained to listen to other people all the time. So it's like if somebody has a special white coat on or they know more than you about your own body, but it's well, you live in this thing.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think the white coat syndrome or that thing, that needs to be a guide. It's another tool for you, because
Correct.
If something doesn't resonate, if they say something, and you've got your own intuition, your own thing going on. We talked about this before, that ages ago, I would get eczema, and then when I got it, this is 10 years, but I remember when I got it, I remember my dad having an itch on the bottom of his palm of his hand, and I always thought that's a weird place to have it. I mean, as a kid, right? But that's the way it would work, and then I would actually have the eczema on my hands, and I remember going to the doctor. I remember it got better. It would go away in the summer because I was out and getting sun or whatever. But I remember going to the doctor, and he was, I said, what is this? And he's like, it's eczema. You're going to have it forever. And in my head, I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going to subscribe to that. And I figured I did food elimination, and I was eating white bread, and then it went away, and I haven't had it since.
Yeah, and it's those kind of things when you're paying attention and you start doing research of something triggered you to do food elimination, right? Maybe it's this,
right?
Those are the important things you have to know and educate yourself on, because unfortunately right now things are very heavily Band-Aid oriented. And it's, if you have eczema, you put this cream on it.
Sure.
But what the cream does is it makes the eczema go away, but it's almost like pushing it under the skin, and then it has to pop up somewhere else now.
It's like hiding. It's camouflage.
Right.
I don't see it. Oh, it's gone away.
Right.
No.
Right.
You didn't go to the root.
Exactly. And your body's going to find out another way to warn you now.
Sure.
So something else even more severe could come out of it. And then you're now going to go back and try and treat that new symptom. But really, those two things have the same root cause. But now you're going to put another Band-Aid on that symptom.
Right.
And then something else is going to happen even stronger, because the body's going to keep, now at first it was talking to you.
Right. Now
it's raising its voice a little.
Yeah.
And then it's going to start yelling at your ass.
Right. And I think that people give up. This happened. I've always had a bad back.
Yep.
No, you haven't always had a bad back. To take that as an example. Because I used to have a bad back where I would throw, many people do this. You throw your back out and that's it. And you move really slow and stiff, whatever. But it's you didn't always have a bad back.
Right.
You got to remember the time before this started happening. Started losing the weight, started working out more, started working on the core. Haven't had my older brother still has it. I haven't had a bad back problem in forever.
Right. And it's because you're listening to the clues your body's giving you, and then going back to when did this problem start? So even your eczema thing you brought up, it's when did the first breakout happen? I do this a lot with people that come into the shop. It's backtrack. When did the eczema start? And around that time period, a lot of people notice it comes out more so when they're stressed out.
Well, that is true. And so there's the emotional component. of it. There's a physical thing, but you got to think that there is an emotional thing happening, right?
Right. So if you're thinking like, we're tripart beings, like most people believe, body, soul, and spirit, you have to understand that they're all using this, meat sack body to communicate all three at once. So if you're when you look at something physically that's happening to you, if you get hit by a car, that's probably pretty much 100% physical. But like if you're breaking out an eczema, there's most likely a body, soul, and spiritual reason why it's all happening.
Right.
So you got to treat all three and look at these warnings and signs in order to actually get healed on the level that you're looking for, like root cause, deep-rooted healing, so that all symptoms eradicate, not just Band-Aids.
Well, I think that's what I know of, Chinese medicine. They look at your body, and they know by looking at you, because they've been trained so well and so long, XYZ is happening. Yep.
There's face reading. They read pulse, nails, face, and tongue, and it's like they can tell you what's going on with like your essence, like your chi energy, like your spirits,
right,
and your physical body, how it's manifesting. And Ayurveda's like that too. They look at everything as a whole rather than like if you have a symptom of hair loss, say, they're not going to treat you for hair loss. They're going to treat something going on in the body that's causing this response.
And, speaking of Chinese medicine practitioner, I went to one, 6 months or so ago, and the kidneys came up. It was a better experience than I had ages ago. But I think we were talking off air, and you said, like, are the kidneys, am I getting this right? Are the kidneys related to the teeth?
Teeth, and also like bags under your eyes. So when people come into my store, so think of it like this. Usually there's like terms that people have, like, so bags under your eyes. Think like you're carrying baggage. So, and I don't mean, this isn't going to be like dark circles. I'm talking about like heavy puffiness under the eyes.
Right.
So this can like relate into like a couple different things. So the first thing I'm going to know is that their kidneys are taxed. There's something going on there. So that is the adrenal system. It's their Jing life force energy, which is your ability to move forward and your drive to do and get things done. Also, kidneys are actually tied to fear. So I'm going to know this person's worried about things. And you guys probably know in like your own life, when you're worried about things and you can't sleep or you have a lot on your mind, the under your eyes start getting swollen.
Sure.
And also, you can think about, when people are drinking a lot, they also get swollen under their eyes from, that's obviously heavy on the kidneys. But generally when people are drinking, it's because they're worried or have anxiety, because it calms you down a little bit. So right away when someone like, walks in, or I'm seeing someone, it's like those things go through my head right away, before I even tap in on an energetic level. Because I can see it right there. So right there, you have body, soul, and spirit manifesting in one thing, and that's the bags under the eyes. So, people say, oh, yeah, you just put cucumbers on your eyes. And, okay, great. But, no, there could be something going on with the whole entire adrenal system. And you need to, get this person on serious kidney support so that their adrenals come back.
And like you said about the Band-Aid, I think that it's obviously not the best way to go, because when you put the Band-Aid on and you put the cream or you put the cucumbers or whatever, and it subsides a little bit, then okay, but it's still there. And so you forget about it. In our lives, we forget about it, and then it comes back.
Exactly.
I read something recently that was that I'm going to kind of expand on, and one of the books that I read a couple of weeks ago, and it was your ill health. I'm going to paraphrase and poorly probably. Your ill health comes over the course of your life in slow motion. The thing I'm adding it is when it comes into your life, it hits like a lightning strike. But putting the Band-Aid on it, it's out of sight, out of mind. It's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. And like I said, it'll start with these whispers, a little psoriasis. but then like when you just put the Band-Aid over that, oh well, they didn't get it. I need to like so if it's coming from your colon, now your colon's gonna be like, all right, I got to do something else to warn them.
Right.
And it can go all the way on until you have end up with something like Crohn's or diverticulitis, and the colon's one of the most emotional organs in the body. So now again with the play on words, okay, literally it stores shit. We're talking spiritually, physically, emotionally.
Sure.
I can, when people come in the shop, and they're looking for, Senna tea or something to help move their bowels. People that are chronically constipated there's physical things. Could be that they don't drink enough water. Could be that they're eating too much gluten and their body can't digest it. But spiritually, a lot of times people who tend to be constipated and suffer with that a lot, it's because they don't, this would be more emotionally, their emotions, so to say, are backed up. They don't speak out enough about their feelings to others. And when something bad happens, instead of working it out, they hold it internally. So this manifests that way. And so if you can get these people to even open up more and talk more and release their emotions or do something to process, they will be able to go to the bathroom more freely. And yes, sometimes you're going to also need the help of plants and other medicines to help with that, but you can't just treat one or the other at this point. So like if it's affecting a physical organ, just emotional isn't going to work, but also if it's an emotional tie to the organ as well, just the physical treatment isn't going to work, because then you're just going to keep repeating the problem because you haven't corrected what's going on with you emotionally.
And I also think that, going with, and I'm getting into herbs more and the supplementation that way, and tinctures are working for me. But I also think that that's just part of the solution. You have whatever happened, or is happening in your body, and you realize, and you go get the supplement. Let's say you're having with bowel movement, because technically you should eat and then have a bowel movement, and then eat again and have a bowel movement.
Yes.
But I've met a lot of people that are like, yeah, I have bowel movements twice a week.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
You're supposed to have them, regularly.
Because that's the way your body gets rid of toxic stuff.
Sure.
So you can even think of emotional, spiritual toxicity, physical toxicity. So if you're not going a couple times a day, that means that all of that is staying in your body, and you actually reabsorb nutrition in the intestinal tract. So when that's getting backed up, what are you reabsorbing into your body consistently?
Right.
It's why you get so sick when you're not going to the bathroom properly.
Right. But I also think that, okay, so you have whatever issue, and then you take the supplements. I think that's just part of a layer, because then I think you need to do your own research. You need to read and think, okay, well, what else am I doing? Like, what am I eating? Because you can take all the supplements you want. I mean, I know someone that takes more supplements than, we're talking like 34, 35 supplements, but they're still eating the fast food. And I'm thinking, okay, what you're doing now is just trying to juggle.
Well, right. And, I have a lot of people that they actually will come into my shop and they have a Tupperware, like a box of supplements.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I'm talking, there's like 75 fucking supplements in this box, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, you're telling me you swallow this shit every day? Because at some point you're overdoing that. How can you swallow? Listen, I own a supplement business. I ain't going to sell you pills just to try to make money off you. I hate that. Right. It's like, but that is dangerous to your body at that point, because now it's like, what herbs are crossing with each other? Because these people aren't trained in that. They are not herbologists. Plus, your liver now has to process those 45 to 75 fucking pills a day. I don't care if it's not pharmaceutical. It's still processing stuff that's making that pill. I don't care how clean the pill is.
And which one of the pills are working.
Exactly.
You don't know
exactly.
Let's just throw everything at it.
Yeah. So, I've had people come in with their big boxes. They empty them all out on the table. I literally boil it down to 10. And then I try to combine those into formula so they're taking 4. Right. So it's a lot of it, and it's, you encourage people to do their own research, but at the same time, it's like also go to people who are trained to help with this.
Well, less is more. And that's why I used to take more supplements, more pills. And, we've talked about this than I take now. I still take some, but I'm trying even now to whittle that down, because I found that the powders, the tinctures, the teas are working better and more effectively than the pills. And some things you have to take. I mean, I don't have an herbal the shop behind my house that I can make these concoctions up, and I don't have the time. So I'll have somebody else do that for me. Okay, fine. And I found out that, XYZ supplement really works.
Exactly. We have this like pill popping syndrome in this in this state or in this in the United States. So it's like people want to be able to like take a supplement, people will even come in and be like, oh yeah, I've been taking this for a week, nothing's happening. Well, like, what do you actually expect after 7 days? Like, everything is so like instant gratification, right. and it's like you have to be doing other things too, like you were saying, and it's like if you're gonna take a bunch of supplements and eat at McDonald's, that ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah. Also, I say you can take really, really good supplements, not eat at McDonald's, eat all organic, and be stressed as shit. They got pills for the pills. Because the pills give you symptoms, and then they're like, well, we got to give her pills for these symptoms. It's pills for the pills.
And you might get this, so if you have nausea, take this other one. And we all know it. You see the TV ads, and the disclaimer is, what the pill does is, let's say it's a 30-second TV ad, which they're not. Let's say it's a minute, but, 10, 15 seconds of the ad is how it's going to help you. The 45 seconds is what it's not going to do.
Right.
What might happen.
Yeah, like when a side effect is death.
That's
like,
right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and you may die.
Yeah.
If death happens, call 911. No, if death happens, too late. Too late.
Yeah, it's just like, so the other thing is that when you are taking plants and their essences, these plants have spirits as well. And then these plants are able to mesh in with your spirit and do what they need to do. Like they're spirit allies. Like, any kind of, you talk to a shaman, at least my shaman, I know, and the ones that I've had in my life tell me, like, these are my plant allies, and these are the allies that you need to work with. They always look at it like these are friends. It's not just something you take and not think about it. So like when I get remedies like that, or when I'm, telling people remedies, it's like, brew it with intention. Hold them herbs in your hand and be like, help me with XYZ today. And I ask that you do this in my body. And then brew that tea and drink it. If you're drinking some nettle tea, don't be drinking it on the highway, on the way to work, cussing someone out and flipping them off because they driving too slow or they cut you off. Because at that point, drink your acidic fucking coffee.
Right.
Just it's like it should be a recognition of the spirituality behind what you're doing. And it's going to get you to stop focusing just on the physical as well. It's a spirit to spirit communication that's happening.
And it also puts you in the moment. And as you said, it gives you the mindset, gives you the mindset of gratitude. But, at its root, there's different levels, and that's a whole another podcast. But at its root, that's what prayer is. You are so why pray before a meal, before you eat? Why not pray or say whatever is you feel comfortable before you take a drink of your tea, before you take a little bite of whatever. It's a cookie's not going to hurt you if you have one, but I mean, do you just plop it in your mouth and that's it, I'm done? It's
slowing down and getting back in tune with like what we're doing, because like most of us in the American Western world, it's like we're always in a rush because we're like we have to be somewhere on the clock by this time, and we have to rush through our day to make our bosses happy, and we have to, and it gets tiring, and so we're disconnected. We're shoving food down our throat, not chewing it. Like I tell people all the time, because I learned this from my herbologist teacher in school, to chew your juice and drink your food. So for juice, when you're making fresh juices, not the ones that you like buy in the store, but like a fresh green juice, you got to swish it around your mouth because it activates the salivary glands. The nutrients start absorbing right away in your mouth.
Sure.
When you take a bite of food, your tongue goes all the way to your stomach, and it actually tells your stomach, these are the enzymes you need to release because there's this much fat, this much protein, this much starch coming down to you. Right. So the body now knows, okay, I need to release all of this in order to break down what's coming. The longer it's on your tongue, the more it has time to actually feel what is in the food and send that information down. So when you're like taking 3 bites of food and swallowing it whole, it's surprise, we're here. And the body's like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then people get heartburn, indigestion, all this stuff. And then they go take a Zantac.
Right.
Okay, well, congratulations. The acid that is now building up is because it's on overdrive trying to completely incinerate what you just put in there because it has no idea what the fuck it is. Nothing told it.
Sure.
So that involves slowing down.
Yeah, there was not enough time between.
Exactly.
Hey, this is what's coming. Oh, and like you said, the body goes, okay, we need this release. Okay, we're ready. Send the first batch down. And then whatever you bite, and then you eat another, you eat a vegetable, whatever you had in the first thing, and now it's like, oh, and then we got this, so maybe different enzymes are activated
because the body talks.
Right. So spiritually speaking, so what's happening on the higher level that is manifesting in our health? What do you think? I mean, it's all coming, as above, so below,
right?
Because it's not just physical.
Right. So, I mentioned how, being constipated could, come up as, because you're not spiritually speaking your mind. And everyone's going to be a little bit different how it manifests. And I always tell my clients, when they're getting readings or, energy readings, whatever, I'll use an example. I have this one lady, she gets aches in her left shoulder or something, and she's like, what does it mean? I'm like, well, it's your guide. It's telling you something. And a lot of times, other people's guides won't tell me why that's happening to them. They want them to figure it out because that's a spirit language.
Right.
So if I'm just going to give them the answer, they ain't doing any work.
And they'll constantly be coming to you, and they won't learn how to listen to their own body.
I don't want to I'm not some fucking guru. You are your own guru.
Sure.
I'm just there to kind of open up the gate to let you know, oh, this actually can happen. These are your guides communicating to you, but figure out their language. It's not my job to be like, oh, come to me, follow me.
Yeah.
I just want to help peel away layers so you actually understand what's going on, then you take it from there.
But you also have to be receptive to that.
Yes.
I mean, not everybody is. We've all met people like that in our lives where no, I just want a pill.
Yeah. And then those people, well, we know how they end up. So,
Right.
But I remember when I first started with in my awakening, it was around 2010. I would get these really, really bad knee aches, and I always thought, I'm like, oh, I did have to stretch my knees. I was always thinking physical realm, and then I realized, this doesn't actually feel muscular. It kind of feels like it's sitting on the outside of my knee and throbbing inwards. If that makes sense. And I was like, what? This is kind of weird. And so I was trying to kind of do research on energetics, and I started realizing about being an empath and clairsentience and how you can feel things in your body. So I started making record of every time it would happen. What's going on? If my knee was aching, okay, what just happened around that? And so that was how my guides used to talk to me, to be like, hey, we're trying to talk to you.
Sure.
So my knees would start hurting, and then I'd get them, and then something would happen. So I'm like, okay, one time,
a physical thing would happen.
No, one time my knees were throbbing so bad when I was leaving work, and I was like, what the heck? What is going on right now? And then on the way home from work, there was actually I had come across a dog that had gotten hit by a car, and nobody was stopping, but it was I was aware to look for something and wasn't sure what it was, and I happened to spot this dog that nobody was seeing, and so I pulled over and helped the dog, called who I needed to call or whatever. But before I left work, it's they were telling me something's coming, pay attention. So as I started developing my language outside of just clairsentience, I think that's, I'm not saying that that's low level or anything, but it's I think that's one of the main ways at first the spiritual realm tries to communicate with people, because we are so physical in this society. Everything, it has to be physical something. So the best way to get your attention is to make something hurt in your body or make you feel a different sensation you're not used to. So that's how they would at first get a hold of me.
Well, they force you to go within.
Yeah.
Because you have whatever happened, and then you think, I don't know, I wonder what this is. Mm-hmm. Because that's, again, going back to that, the body's talking, going, hey, something's up.
Mm-hmm. And so you're paying attention.
Correct.
Here it is. You're not just being a coincidentalist.
And, I look for all information. I mean, I'm doing olive oil because of my son. Mm-hmm. I went raw vegan because of my son. Mm-hmm. And the health scare that we don't have to get into that I had before that, months ago, I honestly believe I had it because it was like, hey, he needs to get healthy. He's healthy, but he needs to get healthier. And so then that happens. And then, it was a freaky, scary time. And it wasn't great. Thank God it was not really, really bad. It was scary enough to me, alarming enough to the family, that my son hops on a plane. I still get emotional over it. Hops on a plane to come see me and is like, okay, we're going shopping. I mean, flew down for the day. Who does that?
Wow.
Wow. And, takes me shopping. This is what you're eating. This is your breakfast. This is your lunch.
And that ties into what you were saying earlier. It's like if you keep band-aiding or not pay attention, because your body's always talks to you all day long. Like, if you don't know how to interpret or you are ignoring, because our busy lives in Western world, like no one's paying attention, so it's like boom, big health scare.
Right.
But then, so your all things always work together for good. Right? My nana used to say that all the time because it's from a verse in Romans in the Bible. All things will always work together for good. So, but out of that, you started getting into health that you wouldn't have met me.
Right.
And now this path happens. And actually, I was talking to my mother about this last week. So maybe like 15 years ago it was, maybe, or it could be even more. Maybe it is, but maybe around there. She got a tumor on her uterus, and it was benign. She got it removed. And after that, she's a hairdresser. She ended up in a studio, a spa that was organic. And the woman there told her, she was like renting space. The woman there told her that the reason she got that tumor was because of all the chemicals in the hair dye are really bad endocrine disruptors. And so they were messing with her estrogen, and now that's why she got this tumor on her reproductive system. So that made my mom go dive into health and organic and trying to find healthier hair alternatives so that because now you're putting hair dye right on your scalp. That's right where your brain is. And, she's touching it all day. So she's going down that path. So, that's triggering my dad to look into stuff more. He's always kind of been into health. At that time I was off doing my own thing. But because of that, my dad got really into health, which then I ended up getting really into it. Out of all of that, then me and my dad eventually, 10 years later, open up our own business together. While I'm in the health industry, I'm getting my spiritual awakening. If I didn't go in the health industry, I wouldn't have got my spiritual awakening. Right. So then my spiritual awakening leads to what I'm doing today, all because my mom got a tumor.
Yeah, and she did that deep dive, into, why is, as opposed to brushing it off.
Right.
Kudos to her.
Right.
Bless your mom.
It wasn't just, the tumor's gone, the doctor's cut it out, let's go on with life. It's like, why did I get this thing? Right. And just because that
I got to buy her lunch because we met. I got to.
Yes, but it's literally like if that tumor didn't happen, me, her, and my dad, none of us would be on the path we are right now.
Well, that was and I've seen that constantly in my life where something happens, like that, and then there's that shift. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I want to go back to the endocrine system. I had maybe 15 years ago. I don't know. Maybe it was longer, but we did a company outing. And our boss took everybody. It was summer. It was all the barbecued fried foods. And one of the heavily overweight employees had a heart attack. Now, he, thank God, didn't pass away. But that turned the first light bulb. And I was in the gym. I got a gym membership that week. Mm-hmm. And that started it. I mean, I still faltered. But luckily, he's still around today. Mm-hmm. But he's still having, he's that 40 pill guy.
Yeah.
And 40 prescribed pills. I know. And I know the people that, that are really close to me. They went to Europe recently, and I saw on the counter, they were getting their bags ready, and they out on the counter, they had this little mesh thing, and I counted them, and they were 60 bottles of pills.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, hopefully this is for both of you.
So it's like balance. Guys, everything, if you want to know, so how do I stay healthy on all three levels? You have to balance body, mind, spirit.
Sure.
60 pills, 60 supplements, none of that is okay.
No.
I tell people to stay, everyone, especially in the Western world, everything's a fad, right? You got keto diet, you got this diet, and everyone comes in, this is the main diet you should be on, this is what everyone should do. If there's a diet that is extreme and it's telling you need to, it's in a way throwing everything out of balance, and like, I'll pick on keto for a minute. You have to eat all this fat and you can't have any of this carb and everything's so restrictive. Those are meant to be temporary to get you somewhere.
Yeah, it's supposed to jumpstart.
Long term, that makes no sense.
You can't do it.
There are no keto cultures. You ain't going to go fly to the country of keto diet.
Even love the beaches there.
I know. But like, I mean, even when people come in and, there's a local doctor in town here that was promoting this certain thing where, if you eat any kind of grains, you're going to get Alzheimer's disease. You got to get off rice, got to get off this. Okay, great. Well, tell my Japanese family that rice is going to give them Alzheimer's disease, and they're going to laugh in your fucking face because they eat it fucking 3 or 4 times a day. And there is like no Alzheimer's in Okinawa, and they're like the longest like living people on the planet, one of. So no, it has nothing to do with that. They didn't even know what that disease was till processed food hit their island.
And there it is.
Okay? Yeah. And diabetes, they didn't know it didn't come from them eating rice. It came from, they didn't know until fast food hit their place. No one ever had that. They didn't even know what to do when kids started getting overweight. That was new to them.
The fast food invasion.
Exactly.
We're going to hit those beaches.
Exactly.
Not the keto island with the great beaches.
So I always tell people, be wary of anything that's throwing off balance in the physical realm. Spiritually, again, yes, it's great to take, go on a spiritual retreat if you need to. Should you live in a spiritual retreat? If you have a call to be that, okay, sure. But 9 out of 10 people aren't going to have the call to go be a monk on a mountain. So, but you have to make time for your spiritual practice. Don't say you don't have time. You need to make time. If it's meditation, if that's what works for you, do it, So physical realm, exercise, like walking meditation.
Or just movement.
Movement, yes. Because yoga for me, that's meditation and exercise. Like, I don't even realize I'm exercising my body while I'm doing it. But, like, if I don't stretch and I'm not doing yoga, I'm a fucking nutcase.
Right.
I'm flying off the handle. Yes, on the days you see me in here with my dreads like fucking Medusa and flipping out, it's because I have not done yoga that day.
So no yoga today, huh?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
No, that's now I'll know. No, but we've talked about this. I do yoga. I do my workout, in the morning. But if I don't do my evening walk, which is another form of meditation, we were just talking about it last night, and I'm looking at the clouds going, hey, there's a face in the cloud. There's the face, there's that face, and I was seeing things in the clouds that I remember as I'm seeing these things, I'm like, when was the last time this happened? There's that whole span of decades when I don't recall doing that. Whereas everybody did. They'll lay on the grass, look at the clouds. Hey, that looks like a dog. And you think that that's a mundane thing, and it isn't.
Right.
Because you and I, we've discussed this ad nauseum. Well, everybody can do this, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody can do that. Mm-hmm. No, not everybody. Yeah, everybody can. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Everybody can. But are you tapped into it? Are you balancing those things?
Right. And you can be even like, so like my thing is divination. So I'm like I'm clairvoyant. So I see everything in images. So any kind of divination that has to do with imagery, I'm super tapped into that. That's why, like, those of you that follow me on Instagram and I don't have my cards table, I'm just going to look at the clouds. I'm going to look at the siding on the house. Like, I could sit in here and look at the wall and the way the paint's done. I can pick up images and start doing a divination reading right now. You can make, and that would be a spiritual thing for me. So
it's just a tool.
It's just a tool. But they're physical tools for us to tap into the spiritual realm. And so, like, when you're on your walk, that's like a physical thing you're doing that's tapping you in spiritually. And now, boom, all of a sudden you're aware of messages coming to you through the clouds. And he was not on his phone while he was on this walk, guys. Like, talk about being out of balance.
Yeah. There was the one time I think you called me, and I took the phone with me, and I made a comment like, it's kind of weird that I've got my phone with me, but something like take your phone, and I very rarely. That's my time. Like, I don't have the phone, or I'll text the kids sometimes, not normal usually, but I'll be like, I'm going to be going for my walk. That's an hour 10. Mm-hmm. And people have their phones attached to their arm.
Oh yeah.
And we have, in an upcoming show, we're going to have Ariel talk about that. That's like the worst thing. I see that and I'm like, oh no. and also you've got the earbuds in, so you're not paying attention.
Yeah. I challenge you guys to just go for a walk without listening to music because it's like we're so taught to plug out everybody around us, everything around us, and we're just in our own little bubbles. But it's like, I mean, the first way spirit can communicate through you is through nature. Right. And you can be like, oh, well, I live in a city, there ain't no nature. Yes, you go out and I don't care if you go in the fucking street, you're going to find a stone. That stone will have something to say. Yeah. I promise you, if you actually tune into that and listen.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. And I was thinking about earlier and about, not without the phone or not having that. When we... For the most part, I think, I'm going to speak for myself. If I stub my toe, if I'm talking to someone in the office or whatever, and I cut a corner and I hit that wall and they laugh because my shoulder hit the wall, you're not paying attention. Those things happen when you're not focused, when you're not in the moment. That's when those things happen. Or when you're talking to someone, and everybody you've done it, you bump it, you're talking to someone at the store and you turn and there, boom, you casually bump it. Oh, sorry about that, huh? You weren't paying attention, you were distracted. So when you're on the phone listening to music in your own little bubble, in your own little whirl, then maybe you don't hear that bicycle coming. God forbid, maybe you don't hear that car coming. And so if, you need to, I think, get away from that and put that aside because, you're going to hear nature, which helps us. You're going to see nature, which helps us. You're going to focus on your steps and then focus on the street and then look at the trees and then look at the cloud. And that helps your vision. That is strengthening your vision. You're
Absolutely.
Looking here, you're not looking at a screen. And also you're not looking down. Your head's not at that 45-degree angle. God, I have these horrible neck pains. Really? Let me take that phone away and I bet it's gone in a few months.
Well, yeah. Or a year or
the
whole thing, there's that whole term like, oh, you're woke. Or you're not. It's like, well, look up and around, like looking down all the time. Yeah, physically it's bad, spiritually it's bad, emotionally it hits all three.
But I think that, I don't really like that expression when people use that. Oh, now I'm woke. No, I think you were woke before you went to sleep when you start. And I get it. There's addictions. There's the social media. I get all of that, and I don't want to begrudge that or talking to that. But what I'm saying, I think for the most part, let's say 99% of the population, they were already there. But you put these things or these things come into your life, and then they put the blocks up. You're running because you need to have that music when you're running. Well, if you were in school and you did when they had PE, and you had the coach, well, were you going to run around the track? As far as I know, maybe it's different now. But when I was growing up, none of us kids had phones, had music piped in. None of them. I mean, if there was music and it was a track meet, there was a band. There was and it was coming. It was coming at to from the outside. It wasn't like focused internally, because that's what it does. And when you put those earbuds in, it's just like right there and there, and you're in that bubble and you're in that whirl and you're encapsulated, and nothing else matters. Okay.
Yeah, I was reading this this book, and it was talking about how when monks are like in, I don't know, do you call it training? Like when they're, learning how to like meditate and they're up in the mountains or whatever.
Training,
the main guy, he was having everybody sit. I'm trying to remember the exact story, so I'm butchering the shit out of this. But he, everybody would be like sitting in the room, and he would be just like walking behind everybody. And he's teaching people how to live in the moment and be in the moment. And he would walk up behind someone and hit them with a stick. And if they didn't catch it in time and they actually got hit, he would know they're not in the moment right now. You would have sensed me coming behind you, even though he was quiet as shit. Right. You would have been so aware because you're so in the present moment. You know what's going on around you at all times. And my husband, he's a Marine, and he would tell me how he never had anxiety when he was out. He's a dog handler. He went out and found bombs. He never had anxiety when he was doing that. And he has anxiety being in society, like in civilization. And it's like, I was like, well, let's see. You're going out looking for fucking bombs that can kill you if you make the wrong step. And, you're just trusting your dog to find them. And then, whatever you do, that would freak me the fuck out. He's like, yeah, but you're so in the moment that if you make the wrong move, the wrong anything, you have to be so presently aware of every step and exactly every movement your dog's making with the tail, with the nose, with the ear. there is no anxiety because you're just focused in that precise moment. And I thought about it, I'm like, wow. So it brought to me I'm like always trying to be so present in the moment. And I have a hard time with this. I think a lot of people do. You're always thinking about what's going to happen in the future. I'm not someone who really dwells on the past much, but I'm always thinking a couple steps ahead. And that's when I have anxiety. And that's why even in readings, I try to, when people are trying to ask me what's going to happen in the future, I'm like, well, what do you want to happen? Because then I can pull cards and tell you this is what you need to do to get there.
Well, and being hyper-focused like your husband is not a bad thing.
No.
It's just paying attention. That's
right.
all that is.
And to be focused like that, you have to be in the moment. Your mind can't be thinking what's going to happen tomorrow.
Because every step matters.
Exactly.
Your life depends on it.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Your life, the life of your team, their safety, your safety, and his dog, the canine, super hyper-focused.
Yes.
Because then they're really tapped in. They've got their sensibility or their sensitive aspects of their body,
right?
High alert.
Right.
This is what I was trained to do. This is what we were trained to do.
Yeah.
So then you go in.
Right. And even the dog. It's like when she's working and when she's not. Totally different.
Yes.
It's
playtime.
Yeah, and that's how we need to be. Oh, work time. Boom. We are working. Right. We are focused. We're working. Oh, work done. Okay, let's go play. And then she wants to go play fetch. Oh, okay. We're sleeping now. She's sleeping. And if you can, be more like Crack. Crack is the name of the dog.
Yeah, put that on the T-shirt. Be more like Crack.
Oh, let's do it. You guys want mugs or shirts?
Yes.
And we'll put her face on the back.
The meditation, Road to Valhalla? Mm-hmm. I'm the guy on the side of the road selling the T-shirts. That's what I'm doing. I got 2 for $25. Come on. You filthy. Well, come on. No, I'm not selling many T-shirts. But I'm there, whatever.
So I guess that's how the body talks. And if you guys have questions or anything like that, you can follow us on Instagram. We love to hear your feedback, and we love to answer questions.
That's right. I am Mystical Wizard.
And I am the Mystic. You can create this inner balance and outer balance and learn your body, mind, and spirit communication of how the body talks, of how the spirit realm talks, and how your emotions talk to you. And bringing in that balance is how you're going to have the key to balanced, perfect health.
And to be in control. That's the bottom line. To be in control of your own path.
Exactly.
That's everything.
And so it is.
The Mystical Emergence Podcast.
The claims, information, or opinions heard on the Mystical Emergence Podcast should never be used in place of your medical provider's advice or your doctor's direction. We have some of the best doctors on the planet, and you should always consult them with all health issues you might be experiencing. Thanks for listening.